Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building. Well. This team feels a little bit different. Feels like we live in a different world than we did just 3 days ago.
Oh, it's a different world.
Get your
different strokes.
In, ladies and gentlemen. Breeze Nation, what's good? It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love to another edition of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. I don't know why I went game show announcer on that.
It's a different world.
Another edition of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. On today's episode,
come on down.
Got to talk about how, to me, after going through watching all of these pieces out of Jordan JC, we'll get his opinion on as well.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like Chicago Bears may have nailed this draft. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not the one that gets everybody all tingly right away. But as you go through these pieces, there seems to be a real impact that these pieces can make right away. Gonna start off, of course, with the big man Colson Loveland and work our way all the way down through that 7th round running back. You got dang right, Jordan JC. You know what it is. Hey, the date's 4/28/2025, 7:03 in the morning. Put the word out. We up. I was a little early on that one. I missed that one. That's on me. I was a little bit early. I thought I had less time. I don't know why that beat felt a little different. I don't know. You want to know what I do know? I do know that I am a visionary.
Oh, there you go.
I am a revolutionary.
Yes.
I am Pat the freaking Designer.
Most epic announcement ever.
That was phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've watched that video like 700 times. Bro,
me and you both.
And we're in it.
Yes.
I just keep rewatching and because I can't even find the the Bears had it as well, which is where I took it from. But it's just easier to get to ours, and I keep watching that video. And also, me and you look like we were doing acid.
Dude, the amount of fist pumping, it looked like it was a blur. We were losing our minds when he said that. Caleb Williams is undefeated in Lambeau Field. Oh, that got me going. I got really, really tingly.
That was a meaty moment for both of us there. That was impressive. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do.
Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push the button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As you can tell, as we start this off, I don't know if my voice sounds weird or not. Apparently, I'm losing my voice after...
what happened?
In totality, 16 hours of talking throughout the draft.
Yeah, you had a marathon. This past
throughout the weekend. So if at any point I sound like I'm going through puberty,
like a little kid again. You got your kid soundboard.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, bro. Deal with it. Listen, let's start it off from top to bottom. We'll start it off with the big names and then make our way down to some of the guys that I think you have to look at as immediate impact with upside, which is something that I don't know if the Bears, we've really seen the Bears be able to go out there and do a ton. I thought this draft actually went a lot better when you start to break down each of the individual pieces. There is one pick that I have question marks on, and I had massive question marks during the draft. For people who are watching, you can see my face of just confusion. I was trying to find any information on this guy, which is Ruben Hippolyte III. But
yeah, me too.
I'm sorry, Ruben Hippolyte II. We got Luther Bird.
Whoa. Gotta get the numbers right. We're getting the Roman numerals right.
But Jordan JC, how you feeling, my guy?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Meeting Monday. Again, yeah. Shout out to you for. I think I tried to keep up with you on one of those. I think it was day 3, maybe.
It
Me
was
and you.
day 3.
I
You made
was
it to a round.
knocked out. I had like 6 tacos that day, and it knocked me out. I couldn't keep up with you for that 7
That
hour.
day, we
Good
watched
Lord.
you eat them on the stream. You
Oh,
were
you
just
doggone right. That's
you
boy.
turned into Kendrick Perkins, just moaning in
More than
everyone's
I
ear.
more than I can take.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's my
Oh,
Michelle. That's my Michelle. No, man. Shout out to you. But that was very, very endurance-y of you for getting through all of those hours.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But listen, I was glad to do it. It's fun being with Breeze Nation anytime we can. And
Yes.
I think the Bears made some good moves here. Let's start it off. Number 1 with Colson Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. This was the first controversial pick of the NFL draft because I think a lot of people thought that we were going to go Tyler Warren in this spot. To me, listen, just a quick breakdown because we did the Colson Loveland episode talking about, what we wanted to see from him, and we dropped that yesterday. But when you talk about him, I mean, the words that come to mind are athleticism and route running. He's a savvy route runner. I think for me, when you talk about a tight end, he feels more like a third wide receiver than a tight end. His basketball background, I think, is going to be phenomenal on boxing out defenders and when he's high pointing the football. Now, the contested catch was one thing that was a little bit tough. And when you start to look through more of his game tape and different things like that, you realize why the contested catch wasn't as impactful, I guess I'll say. There's not as many of them because he routes up just about everybody that he's standing on the other side of. So there's not a ton of contested catches for you to go from. So it's like having a 1-for-3 day in baseball. I'm not saying it's that few, but it's just there's not a ton of data to say, oh, well, I'm worried about contested catches because more times than not, you're dealing with a guy who's dynamic after the catch, gets the ball either in the slot or can be on the outside. He's an aggressive runner, ton of agility. He is, at least, I don't know if he'll do this at the NFL level, but to me, he already projects as somebody better than Cole Kmet on the I'm going to hit you and actually keep going forward market. We've seen Cole Kmet do that one time. That was the first time we saw JC turn into a demon on the stream where we all got a little scared after rewatching that one. But remember he ran through Buddy Chest. You were just like, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on over there?
What's wrong with me?
Listen, the weakness to me is obvious, and I know a lot of people have said, well, he's a better blocker than you think. Listen, there's still a lot of development in his blocking game that I think has to come out. As good of a route runner as he is, I do wonder if there's going to need to be some adjustment with that, or if they're going to kind of let him feel free. He felt like a free form route runner to me. And what I mean by that is like, this is the route I need to run, but I'm going to run it my way to get myself open. I don't know how that's going to work at the NFL level, unless you're Travis Kelce, who kind of is the same way. But I don't know if this young man's going to be Travis Kelce. The one thing that I love about this pick and why I feel like this just makes a ton of sense for the Bears, and then I'll let you jump in here, is what we saw last year was Caleb Williams keeping his eyes down the field to the point where I don't know if he hated Cole Kmet or he just didn't want to throw, or he just didn't take the time to look towards the check down where Cole Kmet was. But there's a ton of times where Cole Kmet is wide open and he doesn't throw him the football. This is a guy who I think is going to be where Caleb Williams' eyes are, somebody that he can focus in on, somebody who is going to be down the field, and somebody I think Caleb Williams is going to enjoy playing with a heck of a lot. I give this pick an A. I saw some people going A+. I just think as far as the fit with Caleb Williams, which is what all of this is about, the fit with Ben Johnson, the fit with Caleb Williams, this pick makes so much sense to me. And the more I watch this young man, the more you just kind of go, okay, this was like the obvious pick, honestly, at the end of the day.
I mean, you know how I felt when we initially were on live and I threw my head back. Did not really like, it was a little flourish. It was definitely, I was taken aback because throughout the entire mock season, throughout the entire draft, we weren't necessarily talking about Colson Loveland. We were talking either about Tyler Warren, Ashton Genty, Mason Graham, Will Campbell, those names, Mike Green. And so it wasn't on my radar. But now that he is on the team and he's clearly on my radar, and I've done the research and I've watched multiple videos and deep dived into YouTube and done the analysis, I love everything about this pick. Yeah. As you mentioned before, not to constantly repeat everything you just said, but I mean, the guy is an elite route runner. When you put on the tape, he looks as if he is a receiver in a tight end body. He has the quickness, 4.5 speed, 4.53, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken for his 40 time. I could be wrong there, but he is everything more that you want as a playmaker, as that receiving option outside of the actual receivers that Cole Kmet is not. Now, of course, you talk about the weakness being a blocker, but what I will say is that he is a willing blocker. It's not as if he's not trying to block. He has the desire to block. He's even said as much. And so I think that's something that will continue to improve his technique when it comes to that. But even when you mention him being able to kind of like find those openings in his routes and kind of make his own path and make his own direction to kind of find the openings in the defensive schemes, that is Travis Kelce-ish. That's what gets me tingling. Now, I'm not sitting there and saying that we got Travis Kelce on day one, but what I'm saying is the potential is there where he has the IQ in the game to kind of, be kind of like that Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce connection where, okay, Caleb's like, all right, I know where he's going to be. Yeah. He's going to be looking for those soft spots in the zone. I can rely on him on the underneath routes. Now, when you when you look at, his relationship with Cole Kmet, that wasn't necessarily his primary target or his secondary target. There was a lot of times that he overlooked him. I think that more so has a lot to do with him wanting to always play superhero ball and maybe having to kind of calm down on that and know when to just take the easy 3, 4, 5 yard pass and completion just to move up the ball down the field. But with this guy being on the team, Ben Johnson loving the 2 tight end sets, the 12 personnel, I think that's going to open up the offense even more because, again, who are you going to focus in on? It's either going to be DJ Rome. We're going to talk about Luther Burden here in a minute. You got Cole, you got DeAndre. You have a slew of stars on this team, or potential star. So you're not going to be able to focus in on one guy. And that's the reason why I really love this pick, is that he's just another addition to make sure that Caleb has multiple options to go to. So I give this overall pick, I'm going to say an A-.
Okay. I like that. Let's move on to the second round. Hit that like button if you have not done so. Subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Drop your grades in the chat as well. What was your thoughts on the first pick the Chicago Bears made at the 10th overall spot there? Were you surprised by it? I think I'll say this too, and we kind of talked about it. I think this pick makes a heck of a lot more sense once you see the report that Ian Rappaport put out about how the only trade up option was at 25, and they were never going to give you enough to actually trade up from 25 to 10. So like I said, let us know how you guys feel in the comments below. Let's move on to Luther Burden III, who was another surprise pick that the Bears made. You saw us in the on the draft video on day 2 going, oh, we saw Antoine Randall just like, oh, get in here, guys. I love you. I'm so excited to have this guy in here. It was like, what the? Oh, no, they're going wide receiver. And it just felt like that was a spot we didn't need wide receiver. Also, the how far Mike Green felt like that was a spot they weren't going to go, which that may end up biting you in the butt a little bit in the long run, but we'll kind of see how that works. But the one thing about Luther Burden is that I think he was the best case scenario offensive pick for you at that spot. He was the BPA offensive pick for you at that spot. I do think the Bears wanted to go Travion Henderson and or Quinshon Judkins. And that was the theme of the day for Ryan Poles. He just kept missing out on the running back that he wanted. But listen, at the end of the day, it's about getting an impact player. And you want to talk about an explosive player, that's Luther Burden. I mean, he's absolutely electric when you get the ball into his hands. It's not difficult to get the ball into his hands because he's got great hands and so it's going to be a pause, whatever. It's football. That's the only way to say it. He's got great hand and ball skills. I think he's as Tommy Waddle says, he's a hand catcher. There's some people that let the ball get into the body and they try to hold on to it. There's some people that snatch the ball out of the air. He's a guy that snatches the ball out of the air. Recorded a 85.9% catch rate in his time in college at Missouri. He tracks the deep ball amazingly well. I think this is why, when we saw it and we were kind of laughing about who's doing these comparisons. I think this is why he gets the DJ Moore comparison. Remember,
Yeah.
you know how DJ Moore, like when you see DJ catch the football, a lot of times, especially if he's tracking the football deep, his hands are not up. The hands come up at the very last second. Gets
Yeah.
them up, boom, grabs the ball, and is able to move forward. I think that's something that he really exemplifies as well. It's going to be nice to have two of those guys on your team. I think the thing is he did just about all of his damage out of the slot. So I don't know if Olamide Zaccheaus is just he got signed here to be a depth piece now, which probably, I mean, you know what I mean?
Looks like it. Yeah.
It's going to take a while for him to get to the point where you know, he's at the NFL level, but hopefully it hits quicker than not. And I would think that you're talking about Luther Burden being a part of this offense day one. I think he's extremely versatile for what Ben Johnson is going to want to run. I think that he can play a little bit inside, outside. The thing for me that I would say is probably going to be his toughest challenge coming into the NFL is he didn't play a lot of like true man press at the line. There's going to be extremely physical corners in the slot in the NFL that are going to try and press up on him and beat up on him. And, you know, not to say that he can't get there to a certain point, but it just may not happen this season. But when you talk about adding a weapon in, right, there's a ton of weapons to the outside. There may be more focus to the outside, especially with what you added at 10 with Colson Loveland. And so to me, I think you got yourself a dynamic slot weapon who just needs a little bit of polish. And listen, I get the maturity comments that we got from Steve Smith.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
But listen, dog,
I don't want the ball. Give me the ball all the time. I mean, that's every receiver.
Steve.
That's every receiver.
We watched you. And he says it in the video. He does say in the video, I had this too. But it's like, we watched you, dog. You know what I mean? We could see that, like, that we also watched T.O. We also watched Randy Moss. We also watched Justin Jefferson. Every receiver wants the football. And the good thing is you got a bunch of guys on this team who, yes, they want the football, but they understand, okay, this is my moment. This is my role. And you got Antoine Randall to punch anybody in the mouth if they get out of body. So I think we're good.
Yeah, it's the diva position. I mean, come on, like you got to expect them to want them a little bit. But no, added to your breakdown, I love this pick. Luther Burden, to me, I did not expect to be there at 39. He to me graded out to be a first rounder. He has all of the talent, and the word I keep thinking about with him is easy acceleration, easy top end speed, easy ball hands as far as like being able to pluck and cleanly catch the ball, even in traffic, easy stop and go speed. Like there's so much to his game athletically that is just, to me, makes him probably, if we're going to, I'm gonna give a meaty take right now.
Oh,
I think that he could be the best receiver coming out of this draft. When you compare him to
meaty take, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was not a great receiver draft. Tet McMillan's which I'm still calling him Tet. I'm sorry, I'm not changing it. He's been Tet for 4 years. I'm calling him Tet McMillan. I apologize, Mama.
Mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Well, his mama named him Teteria. So and she looked in the camera and was like, his name is Teteria. So you call him T-Mac, which I'm not giving him T-Mac.
Ooh, I didn't think about T-Mac.
You giving him T-Mac?
I didn't think about that.
You got to give me 5 games of like looking like the
best.
You
got to be good though. Yeah, you do have to be good. We need you to be decent.
He's Tet till then. I don't think there's a lot of wide receiver competition for Luther Burden to be the best wide receiver out of this draft.
I mean, that's what I mean. When you think about Tet, when you think about Matthew Golden, Emeka Egbuka, you know, the other Isaiah Bond, like this was a weaker draft. But I mean, the guys that were taken before him, you could see him out-dueling or outplaying them just based off of his abilities. And, you know, maybe the production won't be the same to start, but I mean, he has all the intangibles. He has all the skills. He has all the things to make him an eventual star, even on the level of a Roma Dunze, because NFL pro player comparison, Garrett Wilson. Like Garrett Wilson is a top athletic, top star type player, even in the league now. I mean, and I believe that he has even more to show. And so when you look at the strengths of a Luther Burden, the yak monster, when you compare him to DJ Moore, yards after catch is going to be scary. Like when you put him in open space, watch him perform. He's very hard to take down when he gets up to his top end speed. The tape is just electric. It's exciting. this was a pick that I was okay with. We didn't need to go wide receiver again. That is how I felt for the second round. But my thing is the fact that we got him, this just makes, again, this offense more electric. Now we're going to see the depth come into play when it comes to the wide receiver. Because, yes, I thought that we were done with it when we got Zacchaeus. I thought that maybe Tyler Scott would get a chance to get on the field. It seems like Tyler Scott's the afterthought. I don't know what's going on with them. But, I love this pick because you can build around him, and maybe when it comes time to let DJ Moore go, you got your young core already right there to kind of take over the place of a DJ Moore. So I love it.
This is how you see through those blue and orange goggles right there. It was the misdirection I called. The Bears loved it. Even Luther didn't know the Bears were interested. Listen.
No, he didn't.
The Bears didn't know the Bears were interested until all the running backs were off the board.
Yeah, that was kind of like the plan B. Travion, did Travion go right before them?
No, Travion went probably Quinshawn 3 or 4 picks before. Quinshawn went first, and then Travion went like 3 or 4 picks.
Okay, before. Travion. So So I mean, that clearly probably was the route that we're going to go. But I mean, hey, you pivot and you got one of the better receivers in the draft, in my opinion, and he's still going to have an impact on this team. So my grade that I give them for knowing how to pivot and get a really good guy, I'm giving them an A for this pick.
I give him a B because I do feel like with what you did, now you were able to add more. I think there's going to be a little bit looked at though, where there was a ton of really good running backs on the board still. I think you could have still gone to the running back position at either 39 or 41 with a lot of the names that were still at the top and been like, okay, you got your guy, right? Now look, I'm not mad at it because you know how I feel. I'm happy we got the 7th round guy.
I was about to say, you should be really happy. You should be really happy.
Having a good day. But what I will say is this too. All of the question marks aside, and I know there's a lot of fans that will be happy. You left the best football player on the board. In my opinion, I think Mike Green was the best football player still on the board, and you left him on the board to be taken much later in that 2nd round. I mean, he fell a long way, but
yeah.
It's in very different circumstances. And I know, I've talked about Dennis Allen not wanting the smaller defensive end, the guy that's in the 240, 250 range. But Dennis Allen literally is the guy that drafted Khalil Mack. So to me, I'm always going to look at it from that angle. I still think you got a heck of a player here. And I think it's going to be good. I give this a B plus. I give it a B plus. Because I think that Luther Burden is that good. Hey man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. We're gonna keep this thing going on the other side of this as look, ton of breakdown coming left. We still got 2 more picks in the 2nd round here that we got to take a look at with some of the moves that Ryan Poles was able to make after a trade. And we'll talk about all that and more coming up next. But first, cue the Aura music.
Oh.
Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the show. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Aura. Have you ever done a Google search on your own name? You'd be surprised what pops up. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, your relatives. It's all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests just for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use that information to help them access my social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It's really simple to set up. I don't have to download several apps or go to things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft, but you can get all of that in one place with Aura. I get everything at one affordable price as well. You may already have 1 or 2 of these tools, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked while leaving the back door and windows wide open. For you to be able to take advantage of Aura, we got a special deal for you here today. Stop data brokers from exposing your personal information. Go to my sponsor at https://aura.com/the Windy City. Again, that is aura.com/the Windy City to get a 14-day free trial and see how much of your information is being sold. Did the overhead skip for anybody else?
Yeah, I saw a little something.
That was weird. Welcome back. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. I'm just like, huh? What just happened? Drop them bird downs in the chat. Drop them FGBs in the chat.
FGB, you're doing right.
Love a good FGB, my guy.
That's right.
Sitting here breaking down what the Chicago Bears got out of this draft. We got to take a look at the rest of this second round, which is some really, really good talent. This was the pick that I think got everybody in Chicago tingly coming up here with a Azie Trapilo and just a phenomenal draft pick breakdown. I mean, my God, can you get any better than Seth freaking Rollins? It was from everything from the suit to the belt to the
I love the belt.
Just the Like, what?
Oh, loved it. I loved every minute of it.
And then after all of that, you come out with a player like Azie Trapilo, who, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of good picks in here. There's a lot of good weapons, but as somebody who was begging for the Bears to go offensive line in this draft, at some point, I'm a happy camper. Azie Trapilo, when you watch his game, when you watch his tape, he is a polished, power-oriented type tackle. I do think right now it's going to be a little tough to see him as a left tackle because the only time you saw him as a left tackle was when he was in his freshman year, and it was his worst year. But from the 2 years since then, he's continued to improve his game. Can he flip that over? I'm not going to limit him and say that he can't, but I think the one thing that you talk about with this guy is the pass block god that he can be. I mean, he uses his size and length perfectly, does not allow a lot of guys to get around him. He's got long arms, does a great job keeping pass rushers at bay. And when they do try to get around him, he just basically uses his body. Remember that Kevin Hart skit? This is literally kind of how I break down Azie Trapilo. Remember that Kevin Hart skit where he was like, the security was keeping him from getting in, and he was just kept going, "What you doing? Where you going? What you doing?"
Yeah. I forget.
Dog. Like, that is Azie Trapilo. Like, it's literally like, oh, I got past his arm. What you doing? What you doing? Where you going? What you doing? You're not getting to the quarterback. I love this young man's ability in the pass pro game. I think it's where, to me, he shines out the most. I do think that he's a mauler. The more I watched him, right, I do think he's a mauler in the run blocking game. I think he comes off of the ball really well, good pad level. I think he generates a ton of push. Now, at BC, right, you're not playing the best of the best every day, so that could play into it. We'll see kind of what that is at the NFL level. But the one thing that I do love about him, and listen, BC's running a pro-style offense, so I think that plays a lot into this.
There you go.
This young man's football IQ, which, of course, being at BC, right, you got to be a thinker. You got to be a little bit smarter to get into BC. This young man's football IQ, when you're talking about watching him coming off of, or when they're trying to blitz him, when he's dealing with stunts, when they're trying to throw double coverages at him, throw double teams at him, when, like, anything you want to say, even keel, he does not change. He is who he is. I think that the thing that he's probably going to have to work on, and he said this, we got to get our tackles to stop saying things. The thing that he probably is going to have to work on, though, is getting low enough with the pads when he's 6'8". Smaller guys are going to have a little bit more of an advantage on him. But we also are in an NFL where there's not a ton of, like, tiny defensive ends trying to get around the corner on you. I don't think he's going to deal with that nearly as much, but some of those 6'1", 6'2" guys, right, do have a little bit of an advantage. That's the thing where the coaching is going to have to take over. But to me, I get it that this is like a late second round pick here, but this is an A+ pick in my book. I think you nailed this.
Wow. I'm actually there with you. I loved this pick Initially, I'll be honest with you, I had no idea who Azie Trapilo was as far as breakdown. But when I looked at your reaction to the pick, I said, okay, I know Pat knows his stuff, and I know Pat knows his tackles. And so when I did a little bit deeper dive, and then even looked at the initial press conference with him when he finally got to the Bears facility, he talked about the pros and cons of being a taller tackle, and I love the IQ on this guy, the clarity that he has. He said, hey, I'm a bigger guy, so I mean that gives me an advantage. Bigger guys, we're able to put on more muscle, more pounds, and we can move people. I'm a little bit stronger than the average bear, and so that's what I love about this guy. He's consistent. He is even killed, as you mentioned, very balanced. And the immediate thing I saw when even the NFL broke him down, he says he's a day one starter at right tackle. You tell me that this guy is a day one starter. That means that he has the IQ and just the acumen of, okay, I'm going to go about my business. I may not be flashy, but I know how to get the job done. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. Now, if there are certain things that he needs to work on, obviously, naturally, like you mentioned, he's a taller guy, 6'8", 319 or some odd pounds, mammoth of a man. And so, yes, there are times where maybe smaller, faster edge rushers will try to take advantage of him. But I think that over time, you're going to have yourself a very, very good guard, or rather tackle. And I think I saw a page where you could see why Ben Johnson likes him, because they compared him to Taylor Decker, who kind of has the same build and same as far as
like his measurables and stuff like that.
Yeah,
measurables.
Yeah,
he's almost identical if you talk about measurables to Taylor
Yeah.
Decker.
Yeah.
And listen, I think again, when you're talking about an immediate impact, right? I think it speaks to, this is probably the one pick where they'll give him time, right? You've got Karan Amagaji on the roster. You've got Braxton Jones on the roster. Eventually, Braxton will come back and maybe he slots in as that starting left tackle. They're going to give, unless Azie just wins the left tackle job, he clicks right away for him. And they're like, well, it's your job now. Go win games. I would say this is the pick where maybe you can take a little bit more time with him, because to me, everything about him that we love does profile out as a right tackle. How long is it going to take him to figure out that left tackle role? I do think it'll happen at some point this season, hopefully. And he is smart enough, and I think that's why they're taking a chance here. He's smart enough to figure it out right away. It's just about, is the technique going to translate on that left side right away? Or do we see them move Darnell over to that left side, with him probably eventually being the highest paid tackle on this team, even though, right, like even with that, the highest paid tackle on the Lions is their right tackle. So like, you don't have to sit there and start just flipping mugs around just because, oh, well, we're paying them now, so put them on the left side. We'll see what ends up happening there. But I think this is probably my favorite pick of any player that we did make, just because I think it actually answered one of the biggest questions we had. Wide receiver wasn't a question, right? Tight end to me wasn't a question. I think you added monster pieces there, but those weren't questions that I had coming into the draft. This was a question I had coming into the draft, and I think this is the best pick that the Bears made the entire day. Looking at Shamar Turner before we get into this third day 3 here. Shamar Turner rounded out day 2 for the Chicago Bears here, because they did end up moving on from their 4th round pick. And listen, to me, this is Javon Dexter. And you're adding more depth. And why I say that is, when you look at Shamar Turner went from a penetrating style system to a 2-gap system. He did not play well in the 2-gap system. When he was in the penetrating style system, that is when he looked best. A lot of the weaknesses that pop up with Shamar Turner have to do with decision-making in the gap scheme. Decision-making on, okay, which gap do I need to hit? How do I need to go? It took him too long to think about it. And there's times where he picks the wrong gap. There's times where, now I will say, right, there's other weaknesses that are going to have to be coached up here. But I think the upside of this guy, when he did pick the right gap, when he did know what he was looking at, he was extremely explosive. He's got one of those, like, what do they say, like a quick twitch first step. He gets off quick. Like, the one thing I'm not worried about with him going into a penetrating style system, which Dennis Allen is going to have him playing, is where Javon Dexter is like, okay, he's kind of slow getting off of the ball. He's got to like adjust his brain. Shamar Turner, I don't think ever adjusted to a 2-gap system. And so to me, when I see him in this Bears style, I think he fits best as a 3 technique in a 1-gap 4-3. I think his game is like, dare I say, a young Sheldon Richardson. I'll go with a young Sheldon Richardson on that. He's quick. He's aggressive.
I don't mind
that. He's an absolute wrecking ball off of the ball. And I think for the Bears, as an interior pass rush specialist, is probably where he starts out this season. But he's going to be good at that job, right? Which makes sense because we just added Grady Jarrett. Dio Dangbo is going to be in there. Andrew Billings is going to be in there. Javon Dexter is going to be in there. Right now, I don't need you to come in here and be a, immediate, you got to be the best player to ever be the guy on the field. What I need you right now to be is somebody who, when I bring you in pass rush downs, you're able to push the pocket backwards and force the offensive lineman into the lap of the quarterback. That's what he can do. And I think it's going to be so beneficial to see him at an NFL level in a system that fits kind of what his game is versus what we saw in his college game, which is why I believe you saw the most lack of production. There's just too many times where he's thinking. And that, I think, ended up being his biggest problem.
Yeah, no, I really love this pick. I love Shamar Turner at this level because, again, after addressing the interior and the trenches on the other side, you addressed trenches again, which is where our weakness was the past year. And as you mentioned, we have a embarrassment of riches now on the interior. And so you don't need this guy to come in as much as I love him. I love his violent playing style. I love his aggressiveness. He's very violent. I love the way that, he continues to go after the quarterback. It mentions that he even plays past the whistle as far as some of his traits, some of his strengths. He compared to Nnamdi Madubuike. It used to be Justin Madubuike because I keep thinking Justin, but Nnamdi Madubuike. And if you think about how Nnamdi started with the Ravens, wasn't necessarily the best statistical guy, but you saw the potential. And then he's put it all together this past couple of seasons. He had 6.5 sacks from the interior this past season, 21 tackles, 1 forced fumble. He was a force. And now he's probably one of the better names and up-and-coming names in the NFL. If you want to get that sort of production and potential, I love that, especially learning behind a Grady Jarrett who's been there, done that, and behind a Billings. Javon Dexter, as you mentioned, Dio Dangbo, like that is exactly the right environment that you want for Shamar Turner to be coming into because he can learn, he can take it easy when it comes to the amount of snaps he's probably going to be in each game. And so that's what I look at as far as like his upside, his development, is that he's not going to come right in, as you mentioned, and have to play every single snap and expect to be that guy right away. But you can see the potential there for him to be special when he puts it all together. And again, as I've mentioned and I preached over and over, the pairing with the coaching staff is what I think is really going to allow a lot of these players to maximize their potential. When you put them with, a Dennis Allen who has been there and done that and has been connected to some of the better names in the NFL, as you mentioned, Khalil Mack, I think that that's where you're going to feel really exciting as far as his potential and where he can tap into, where he can better his weaknesses. And so I give this grade an A. I give him an A as far as Shamar Turner because I think ultimately he will be a very good player on the Bears.
Yeah, listen, I think that he fits what the Bears want to do. And, I'll speak to it. I don't know if I go A. I think this is I'll go a B, maybe even B minus. I think he's going to be a good player, but it's just, there is you still got to see it, right? The production in college just is not elite. And so you still got to see it at the NFL level. But I do believe when I watch it, right, I could be looking at this in a year and say that he's an A pick because, like I said, he's got that get off when he knows where he's going, when he knows what hole to hit, when he knows what gap he needs to be in, which he's going to know what gap he needs to be in because we're running a penetrating style system here. So he's just got to go. He doesn't have to think about it. He just has to go. I think he's got great get off. I think he gets all the way I think he does a great job being aggressive, and he pushes the pocket, man. That's what you want to see. Let us know how you guys feel about day 1 and day 2. Gonna finish it out here with day 3 with probably the most interesting pick of the draft. I think most of us can say that Ruben Hippolyte the second out of Maryland. Listen, I had no idea about this pick. Like this is the one dude where I was like, I don't even have a breakdown of him. I went and looked for breakdowns of him, and there weren't breakdowns of him. The breakdowns that did exist of him said this guy should have been an undrafted free agent. Listen, you picked him too high. You just did. He would have been there. This was the one that to me felt like after Cam Scatabo went right in the Bears trade back, it felt like to me you maybe weren't as prepared as you needed to be. He's an undersized linebacker. He's 6 feet, 230. Now, what I will say is, right, weight-wise, measuring very similar to Jack Sanborn, who I think this is their attempt to try and get better at that. The positives I will have on him, though, I mean, when you watch him, listen, he's an athlete. He is a tackle leader. He's somebody who I think does make an impact in the run game. His coverage skills are piss poor. They just are. That's what it comes. His coverage skills are piss poor. I like everybody says raw, right? What's rawer than raw? Blue? Like what is alive? Like what is below raw? Like he's bad in coverage. And I think it's okay to say that because that's where the coaching staff comes in. That's where I need to see more of you right now. To me, I think he's more of a will linebacker and a fast flow offense. I think that if you're talking about a motor, he's got a heck of a motor. I think it is a gamble. If you had done this in the 6th round, I would say sure, right? You took a guy in the 6th round that you're hoping has a ton of upside. You did it in the 4th. And I don't feel good about the pick right now. Doesn't mean the guy can't play. Does have all the intangibles. Does have the smarts. Was a captain just about the entire time he was in college. I have concerns over the size. I have concerns over the coverage technique. I have concerns over the game overall. But he's a guy that does make a ton of tackles, and that's what the Bears wanted. They wanted to get quicker at that position. They wanted a guy that can beat people to the edge. That is one thing that he does. But again, the size to me, I think is there's more times than not where he's trying to make a tackle and he's going the wrong direction. Right? This is a C- pick to me. This might even be a D pick to me. I think this was your worst pick of the day. And there's nothing to sit there and tell you like, no, this guy's gonna be amazing. And I get it, 4th round pick, right? You're not asking for amazing, but I guess I don't even know how he fits in a role here outside of special teams.
I'm just going to give my pick right away, my grade right away. This is an F to me, mainly because, as you mentioned, I'm not even joking. Like, you could have gotten him after the draft was over. To me, you wasted an entire pick, or even the 7th round, whatever his grade is. They don't even have an NFL Pro comparison for this player. The key to why he probably
NFL
is
Pro comparison, Jordan J.C.
No, I look. At least I bring steak on the table. All right, this guy brings nothing. All right, no, but the one thing that I guess NFL evaluators mention is that's rarely dismissed is the kind of speed that he has. But he's still undersized, 5'11", 236 pounds. I looked at the tape. There were some, obviously the highlights are going to be the highlights. And so it's going to make him look a little bit better. But I saw some short tackling at times, but then there are also weaknesses saying that he's not always a short tackler. Yeah. And so that's my issue with this is that this is where you started getting a little, I guess, uncertain. Maybe this was not your plan B or plan C. You knew that there were certain running backs that were taken right before him that were still on the board. And so I think Ryan Poles just was unprepared for which direction to go. You addressed a lot of things beforehand in the earlier drafts. And this is where they missed. We talk about his track record when it comes to later picks. This was an F to me. You didn't do your homework on this, in my opinion. Yeah. And I think you just went with what you thought was best. And so we'll see if it works out. We'll see if he even makes the roster. But this is a piss poor. Yeah, this was a piss poor pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, he's a 4th round pick. He's gonna make the roster. He better make the
He ain't
roster.
no 4th round grade.
Pick. By the way, I will say there's a lot of people who are saying that this is a Velus Jones pick. Velus Jones was a much higher pick. This ain't that bad. I don't have a ton of confidence in it, but this ain't Velus Jones bad, right? This is a pick where if it doesn't work out and you move on from him next year, yes, you wasted a pick and it sucks. Ryan Poles seems to always waste 4th round picks. And also when you look at day 3, and we'll get to the other guys here in a second, but to me, when you look at day 3, I see it as more of a positive day than probably most. You added a future 4th, which we know Ryan Poles is going to trade. You added a DB, which I said it. I think I said it on the stream. I trust the DB guy with my life at this point. Like he don't miss. You know what I mean? And Al Harris was somebody who was high on him with Zay Frazier. You added Luke Newman, who is a depth piece as far as an offensive lineman, and you added Kyle Monangai. Monangai. Yeah. Kyle Monangai, who I think is basically Roshan Johnson's replacement in the 7th round, which is crazy to say. But I see day 3 as probably more positive than most people do. That was the one big negative, though, from that day. We look at Zay Frazier, and I respect him for correcting people in the draft, in the post-game interview. He's like, my name is Zay, not Zah.
Okay. All right.
I think that to me, when you talk about his speed being in the low 4.4s, when you talk about his size, his length, his ability to have some really good hands. I believe he was a former wide receiver as well, so that's kind of helping him with the hands. I think that you got a really, really good raw talent here that projects to have some upside. Not raw talent like on the other side of this thing when we were talking about Ruben Hippolyte, where it's like, yeah, I don't see it. I see the talent with this young man. I think there is the ball skills alone put him in a very good position. I think that when you talk about comfort, he does a great job of locating the football, does a great job of getting his head around, does a great job of doing all of the little things naturally that you need to do to not get pass interference in the NFL. And so because of that, I do like what I see out of Zay Frazier. The bottom line is, though, he's a long press man corner who has extremely raw talent, but that Antoine Randall liked. And again, like I said, I trust the DB guy with my life at this point. We haven't seen a ton of DBs miss here. I think in the 5th round, this is going to be a kid that you could talk about rotating in probably fairly early on in his career, probably this season. Especially once he gets an opportunity to get in there and work with Antoine Randall. I would give this a C+ pick.
Yeah. This is where the Bears got back on track. And as you mentioned, the DB guy, whoever he is, he does not miss. Zay Frazier set the UTSA record last year with 6 interceptions. That was 2nd in the FBS. He's first team All-American Athletic Conference, 1.3 passes defended per game. That's 4th in the FBS. And the first AAC player to register 6+ interceptions in a season since 2018. A really underrated pick, fast guy as well. Really good speed on this guy, lengthy, lanky, kind of lean in his build. But I believe that this is going to be another one of those like sneaky good pickups as well that will give more depth to the DB room, and Al Harris obviously is going to make sure.
I say Antoine Randall. My bad, y'all. Al Harris. I knew.
As far as the coach, Al Harris is definitely going to make sure that he develops him properly on top of his talent level. I think Zay Frazier comes in as a C+ for me as well.
Yeah. Luke Newman was another day 3 pick. Who, listen, you want to talk about just good guy technique? I think he's got great run blocking upside. I think I'll tell you what, the one thing I was like, he's a nasty player. He's that nasty that you were talking about with Ben Johnson was speaking on players.
Right.
A little bit of a better kind of nasty there. I think he's versatile. He's got tackle ability. He's got guard ability. He is also a massive human being, 6'6", 320. To me, this is a pick to have a guard in here to work with Joe Tooney, to work with Jonah Jackson and kind of get his game refined. And possibly in the future, he could be somebody that you look at as slotting in on that left side as that left guard. Now, look, he's played mostly right, but he's going to have a ton of time to learn. Like I said, he's a swing tackle. To me, he's a physical lineman. I think he could have a solid career as a backup lineman in the NFL for sure, which is something you need. You need depth pieces. You need those guys that can be backup linemen. I think in the overall, though, right now is not his time. To me, the future is going to be his time. And when you get to that future, I think that there's going to be a ton that, when he was going up against some of the elite pass rushers, elite edge rushers, did a good job getting his feet in front of them. And the only thing with me that I think, just like every late round pick that you got to talk about, is the technique is a little bit inconsistent, right? There are times where the technique is perfect and he's a tactician. And then there are times where it does drop off. And unfortunately, playing tackle, playing guard, right? Those moments where your technique drops off means your quarterback gets hit. Yeah. And so that's why I think he ended up going this late in the draft. Also struggles, like we said earlier, with Azie with the pad level. These guys are massive. Like, it's going to be tough to get that pad level as low as you need it. And that's where coaching comes in. But I think this was a good pick. To me, I probably look at this one as, now, again, these grades are based on where we're at. To me, this is a B pick for a 5th round, or was he a 7th round guy? A 6th round guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I give it a B- because, again, I like that they're addressing the depth, and the depth this season, to me, I feel way more confident about than the depth from the previous season when they brought in all of these different guys. You're going backwards, guy, and I'm in my room. I'm in my room. Yeah. Coleman Shelton and your Ryan Bateses and your Matthew Pryors, and even though some of these guys are still on the team, I feel like you've addressed it a little bit more properly with bringing in some of these guys, the Azie Trapilos and the Luke Newmans. I do agree that you can't teach his size. They're getting a lot of big guys in this draft, and I think that's the one thing that they're looking for, is just to take them some space. You need some guys that will take up some space. You teach him some technique. You teach consistency for Luke Newman. He will be a viable backup for a long time, I think. And then again, pairing him with some really good pros in Joe Tooney. I got it right this side. Joe Tooney. and your Drew Dolmans and your Jonah Jacksons, like that's where, again, I can see him shine, is that, again, he doesn't have to come in and perform right away. He can be behind these guys that have, again, been there and done that, and it has done it at a high level. So I give it a solid B.
Yeah. Shout out to Joseph San Giovanni. Said,
I
think
like
everyone
that.
is sleeping on Kyle Monangai. He's Genty Jr., same size, all around, and just a slower end, better ball security and pass blocker. I bet 20 he will be starting the starting running back by week 10. I don't know if I go that Giovanni. I don't know if I go that meaty on it. Shout out to
you call me Mr. Meaty on that one. Yeah, I'm with you, Joseph.
Here's what I'll say about him, right? I think the positives are the vision and patience. It is the ball security. It is the workhorse mentality. I think that he's also a leader on this team. He is to me, great value Genty is crazy. He is your great value Monty. You know what I mean? He is what you want Monty to be. I think you've got your poor man Sonic and Knuckles with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai here. I do. Like, listen, I love it. I love that and you know me, I love the 7th round running back. I think the fact that I believe that he's going to be heavily involved in this rotation at some point says something for a 7th round pick. But to go Genty, like, the speed just isn't there. He's not going to be as effective in the pass game. It's not his strong suit. And I shouldn't say that. He wasn't used for it, so maybe it is there. He's only got 38 career catches in his college career. And the one thing I will say is, to me, I think that he rotates in more as he's very much a bowling ball runner. He rotates in as that guy that can be a 10 touchdown per year guy at the end of the draft. And I like his I like what he can bring, but Genty's a little far. That's a little too meaty for me.
Well, I'll make up the meat level because I'm going full meat on this one. Full meaty on this one.
That's nuts. Full meat.
This is. I don't care. I don't care. You can pause me all you want in the chat. You can pause me all you want, Pat. This is my favorite pick of the draft for the Bears. I do not know why he was still there in the 7th round. The more I look at tape on this guy and I see the stats, I look at the draft experts that talk about he actually was in a system just like Ashton Genty where they didn't have you doggone right. Oh my, full meaty, Tana. You had a system where they knew their pass game was putrid. Yeah. That's why he wasn't used that much. But when he was, he caught the ball. I believe he is underdeveloped in that area because they just didn't go to him in the pass game enough. It was poor. And so defenses filled the box. 8-9 in the box. Yeah. And they still couldn't stop him. Who does that sound like? Ashton Genty. Let me give you some stats for the Big Ten. Unanimous first team all Big Ten. 0 fumbles in 676 career carries. 3,222 yards, 27 touchdowns. This is where he's a little David Montgomery-ish. 4.60 40-yard dash. I think David had 4.63. 139 missed tackles forced. That was first in NCAA since 2023. He was better than Genty in that stat. I'm letting you know now, when you look at YouTube, when you look at the highlights, he has a little Genty to his game. He has a little wiggle. He is very, very good as far as vision. He sees the hole. He cuts into the hole. He also has a little left to right movement as well. He's got a little wiggle to his game. I believe he is highly underrated. He will be your starter by, I want to say, week 10. Call me out of that. We can have another stake bet, but I believe he'll be your starter by week 10. I give this an A+.
I give it an A+. I think he's going to be on the roster. Like he's a 7th round pick that I think is going to make the roster. Like, yeah, I'll give it an A+. Like, are you okay? You were more excited about him than you were about freaking Colson Loveland.
You doggone right, because we literally got this guy in the end of the draft, and he looks as if only thing that held him back was his 40 time, and I think a little bit maybe of a height issue.
Yeah.
But hey, meat juice residue, y'all can make fun of me all you want.
Oh, no, I think they're rocking with you. I think they're all in.
Oh, hey, yeah. Shout out to Joseph. Another one. He said Pacheco, who also came from the Rutgers program as well.
Yeah, I know. Y'all know how I feel about Isaiah Pacheco.
I know he's Flintstone-y. He runs hard for 2 yards.
Activity that looks like accomplishment, but you got 3 yards.
What down? Tell you, man. Watch out, Ashton Genty Jr. on the way.
Man. We're gonna tile JC off. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love as always. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We got to get up out of here, man. Y'all said you got to take a drink. You got to take a drink.
That's right. I got hot. Oh boy. Love being Monangai. Monangai is the guy. I'm letting you know. I'm telling you. You watch out.
For Mr. Medium Self, it's your boy George. Hey. I said it back.
Yes. Got everybody off the kilter.
It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Man down. One love.
Monangai, baby.
Christ.
I wish Seth freaking Rollins announced him in the 7th round. Oh, that would have made it perfect.
Listen, I was giving him an A just for the fact that he's gonna make the team and be a big contributor. You're basically saying you got Ashton Genty in the 7th round.
You watch that tape closely, sir.